Hey everyone, welcome back to Every Version Ever. My name is Jonathan North, and in today's episode, we're continuing our series on L. Frank Baum's The Wizard of Oz, but this time our movie is only barely related to the source material. And I can't believe I'm doing this again. So, last year, when I was doing my Wizard of Oz series over on iHeart Movies, I found an Oz-themed horror movie called Flying Monkeys, and it was terrible. It was so bad that I didn't even want to bother devoting a whole episode to it, so I just made a short review and called it good. I had no intention of ever revisiting this monkey monstrosity again. However, since last year's Oz series, I've gotten to know Nicki from Trivial Theater, who kind of specializes in bad, cheesy sci-fi and horror films, like B movies, movies so bad they're good, and just straight up bad movies. And we've had a lot of fun talking about several of these kind of movies over the past few months. So when it came time to move my Oz series from the main podcast over to Every Version Ever, I decided that even though I hated this movie, it probably would still be fun to talk about it with Nicki. And yes, it was, but watching the movie was still a chore. Like I said with the two Asylum films in my last series in War of the Worlds, I don't recommend watching the film itself, unless you like that kind of thing, but our podcast should be more than enough for the average film fan. I think our podcast will be a lot more entertaining than the film itself. Anyway, let's get on with this. Flying Monkeys with Nicki from Trivial Theater. Well, I guess to start off with, I should ask, had you heard of this movie before I sent it to you?
I hadn't, no. Actually, it has a pretty decent amount of stars in it, like people that have starred in actual movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the chick that played Sonia, the best friend, I guess, was in like Death Proof and Machete, and I think she's in Planet Terror as well. So the Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez.
Okay.
But I don't know like who she was. Like I didn't automatically go, "Oh, hey, it's this person." So, and then the main lead Joan was in Independence Day Resurgence, and she was in It Follows.
Okay.
So again, I don't know how much that's worth in the grand scheme of things, but there are people that have been, well, I guess it would have been after this.
Yeah.
This was 2013.
This is what launched their career.
Oh God. Oh, and that's the thing, you always get those movies that kind of like they have such like loose threads to the the initial plot. Like you think Flying Monkeys, you automatically think, oh, Wizard of Oz, and this is like, well, there are monkeys that fly, and that's pretty much it.
And a few like nods to the story, like subtle nods that if you're not that familiar with the story, you'd miss.
Yeah, well, like what was it, Gail, Kansas? Joan's dad, he talks to a Dorothy that he works with, and then there's another one, like a pizza delivery kid, and he's riding a bike, and he gets kind of taught, like the bike and him go up, and then the bike comes down. So, kind of.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I was grasping at straws at that point.
There was one that I read, but I couldn't confirm. Apparently, the real name of the monkey is Nico, which is apparently, in at least one version, was the name of the lead monkey. It might have been in the original MGM version. I'm not sure, but it's one. That's not like, I don't think that's book accurate. I think it was just referencing a movie.
And that's entirely
I didn't go back and watch and like look for that to confirm. I just read that somebody was talking about that one.
Well, I can't imagine why. I mean, my goodness. There was something about the digital effects too. I'm trying to remember. There was one guy that worked on this that has done some relatively big special effects.
I doubt he puts this one on his resume.
Yeah. Yeah, he worked on Hellboy, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Arachnoquake. The effects, I know on our copy it wasn't great, but they weren't terrible considering a lot of sci-fi originals, and I didn't see who the production company was on this. The only thing I read was it was done for sci-fi by sci-fi. And the effects they were better than what you see in some of them. They looked like there was some texture to them, and they worked with the lighting, like it wasn't just all lit with the same light and stuff. So I mean, it wasn't awful.
Yeah, they just didn't have enough texture.
No,
It was
none of
very
it did.
plasticky looking.
Yeah, but you could see like in their face, there. If you took like the base model from like the characters from like Planet of the Apes before they added all the good stuff,
Yeah,
you get kind of that base feel.
yeah. I guess they just felt unfinished.
Yeah, that
They
was
were
kind of the whole
rushing through the
movie.
production.
Yeah, yeah, not gonna deny that.
It just felt really weird because there's another Wizard of Oz adaptation from sci-fi. Like, not that I count this as a straight adaptation. This is the most loosely based. They took an idea from the Wizard of Oz and turned it into its own thing. But there is a Wizard of Oz adaptation called Tin Man from sci-fi that
Oh
came out
yeah,
years before this, like at least 5 years. And the special effects are so much better than this. The flying monkeys, they're not perfect, but they're furry. They look like actual things. These just looked like plastic models.
yeah. I remember that. There was some cool ideas. It had some good base.
Yeah. That one's kind of a mixed bag. I enjoy it for what it is, but I think it could have been pared down to a, a good movie. Instead,
Yeah.
it felt drawn out.
Well, if it would have been drawn out, it probably would have turned into this. It definitely had that more of an epic quality to it. Like it
Uh-huh.
felt more like an event thing. It wasn't just an one-off. Like
Yeah.
Tuesday night, here's a new Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Yeah, they put a lot more work and thought and care into that one than they did this.
Yeah, yeah.
This
I
was
love.
like somebody was afraid of the flying monkeys from the original Wizard of Oz and was like, how can that be its own thing and how can it be a horror movie? Except I didn't find this thing scary at all.
No,
I
not even
was so
remotely.
bored.
It was too. I was reading through reviews on IMDb, and they really ran the gambit. And I'm not sure where I sit with it, because I do like, there was a lot of them that said, "Oh, I loved creature features of this era and that era," and it really falls into that realm. And it's like, I didn't get that. It just felt like very traditional sci-fi esque movie to me.
Hmm.
It felt. I know we've talked about this before, but like, there's always that saying about the worst thing you can be is middle of the road. Be intensely good or be like really, funny bad. But
Mm-hmm.
this just felt like so middle of the road. It just felt boring.
Yeah. We watched that. I don't want to keep always referring to this, but like that Santa Claus versus the Martians or Santa Claus conquers the Martians, whatever it was called, that was really bad, but it was so entertaining.
Yeah.
But this is not that. This is not entertaining bad. This is
No.
like annoying bad.
It was played with something like Flying Monkeys. I think it has to be played for humor. Not humor so much, but it has to be played extreme. And it
Mm,
wasn't. It was played just flat. Like
yeah.
the demon hunter chick. Like everything that came out of her mouth was so, these weapons are blessed. We got these weapons. They are blessed. They've been in our family for generations. Only me and my family and our blessed weapons. It's just like everything that she said, it was all in that same kind of like shouty, I don't know, like leadership thing, but there wasn't anything more to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I
It
could shout
was.
about being a pumpkin pie and it would have been just as realistic.
She was not the greatest of actors.
No, no, definitely not. I think we have yet to go back up to a peak of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, honestly.
We should try and find something that good for the
Oh,
next time.
I can certainly help. We have not peaked. It's hills and valleys. You've awesome ones and then not so awesome ones and then more awesome ones. We'll get back to it. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start with this one. I mean, suppose at the beginning.
Yeah, we might
Man,
as well. Well, at the beginning, not that it matters, but I think there might have been a little bit missing from the version we watched because I could have sworn there was more to the scene at the beginning with the plane, but I didn't care enough to try and find a better copy.
This copy also had that weird little commercial thing in the middle of it. I don't know if it was a promo for like a service or a show or a movie or what.
I don't know. It just stopped, and then there was this weird commercial. I don't know what it was. Well, anyways, we start with these pilots. They're, I guess, trafficking endangered animals or something. And there's a bunch of noise in the back. One goes to investigate and gets eaten by a flying monkey.
Which is what happens on most flights. I mean, if you don't have at least one person eaten by a monkey, then can you really call that flight successful?
Well, then they had a very successful flight.
I would say so. Well, and apparently there was a lot of other animals on there too that were eaten, according to the poacher on the stateside, the guy that actually sold the animals.
Uh-huh. And what I don't get is where is it all going? Because the flying monkey is actually this tiny monkey that transforms. So, like, it eats a ton of food. Where is it going?
I was wondering that
tiny
too.
Monkey. Is there like another dimension in its stomach?
I remember that question being raised about like werewolves, like they eat a whole human, where does all of that go? I mean, well, and those monkeys too, and I'm not sure where Capuchin, I think it was a Capuchin monkey, like where they come from, if it's South America, if it's Africa, if it's Asia, I'm not sure.
I believe Capuchins are South American. I think they're part of like the New World monkey species.
Okay.
So anything South American and Central American is called a New World monkey. And I'm pretty sure that that's where they're from.
Good to know.
Not 100% sure because it's been a long time since I was watching all the animal programs on PBS frequently. Like that was my favorite thing to watch as a kid was all the animal programs.
I just remember the Capuchin monkey from Night at the Museum.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, there he is.
I think that one is like a really famous one. Like she's in a whole bunch of movies. I think her name is Crystal.
Aww.
If I'm thinking of the same monkey.
Well, it definitely wasn't the one that was in this movie, but that's neither here nor there.
Although, but the one in this one is so cute. Like that's the one saving grace of this movie. I love the monkey. I want it so bad. It's so cute.
It is very cute, and it seemed like it was really well trained. Like at one point, it got up on Joan's head and was kind of chilling up there, and it's like that would take some trust to. Mm-hmm. I mean, even no matter how well trained an animal is, to be able to trust it to that point, especially on this level of movie. Yeah,
it's as bad as the movie was. Anytime that the real monkey was there, it was like, okay, I'm fine with this for now. It was really cute.
5 minutes here, 20 minutes gone. 5 minutes here, 20 minutes gone.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, the monkey, we find out, is being trafficked to Gale, Kansas.
Technically, Wichita, Kansas is where it was sold from.
Okay. Well, it ends up in Gale, however it got there in the story.
And I think it was there's so many random like little like what's supposed to be warm fuzzy moments, and it's just like, are you guys serious? This is what you come off with for warm fuzzy? It goes from that to someone's face being eaten in a very short time.
Yeah.
They go to like Gale, Kansas, so super small town, which if you had your bingo card out for like small town bingo, there was whole bunch of cars driving behind a tractor, and if you've been from anywhere rural, there's no way in hell that many cars would have built up behind that tractor. No. They would have been passing left and right.
Yes.
But the dad of this high school senior who's graduating in one of the smallest ceremonies I've ever seen, and I went to a super small school, he doesn't make her graduation, and she's all mad at him and stuff, and he's apparently never there, and they have a touchy-feely moment about the mom dying, and so he goes out and gets a monkey from this pet shop because she's apparently going to college to be a vet. And what better gift to give a student that's going to be in college full time, going for something pretty hardcore, but a monkey. Not a cat, not a dog, not a hamster, a monkey.
And it should just like up and buy something like that without even talking to the person you're getting it for. That seems like I wouldn't want somebody to surprise me with an animal. I love animals, but I don't want someone to randomly give me one. That's the massive responsibility.
Oh, usually so. It's like getting an animal for Christmas.
I don't remember what I was reading, but somebody online was talking about like the original meaning of the white elephant gift was because there was this king in ancient times. I don't know who he was, but like hundreds of years ago, he would give people a white elephant if he didn't like them. White elephants are super rare, so it would be really awful if they were to like re-gift it or like get rid of it somehow. So
Right.
he would give people this super rare creature if he didn't like them, and it would just like
Nice.
ruin them financially.
That's it's low. It's one of those low key disses.
A very
also,
weird one for sure.
oh yeah, no doubt. I also had to love and I guess it was supposed to be their establishing way of saying, oh, it's graduation time. But there was two old guys standing outside of a gas station,
Ugh.
and a bunch of chicks, a bunch of high school girls in, I think it was a PT Cruiser or something, drove past, and they're all waving and going woo and stuff, and they're like, high school girls, we keep getting older, they stay the same age.
Yeah, that was weird, like
Yeah.
borderline creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. Although on your small town bingo board, that's not 100% unheard of.
Yeah, I could imagine. I found it weird too. I don't remember the exact population, but it was 5,000 some. So that they live in a town that's the same size as the town I'm from.
That's a lot bigger than where I'm from originally, but
How big was where you were from?
about 900 people.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty
Yeah.
small.
I had a graduating class at 24, so like the high school graduating class was like the same size as what mine would have been.
Oh, well, I was homeschooled, so my graduating class was 1.
Well, there you go. See, now you're like the graduation they show for this particular movie would have been about the size of your graduating, like everybody that's there, right?
I guess so. There wasn't that many people, so probably.
Yeah, there was. I tried to count. I mean, I can't think there was more than probably 15 people, and that like they had them stacked well, but it's just like you couldn't get a few more people as extras.
Yeah.
It was like the most low-key graduation I've ever seen in my life. And the horning teenagers, my God, anytime there were two teenagers on camera, it was like automatic hornball.
I think they were, and I'm not an expert on horror movies, but I've heard that that's kind of a trope to set up who they're going to kill.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that all these people were going to be monkey food, and I was correct.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that wasn't named Joan, James, or Sophia or Sophie
Sonia.
basically died. Sonia, yeah, died. I mean,
Yeah, the monkeys basically ate the whole town. Or at least the whole town of characters that we saw on screen.
And a few that we didn't.
Yeah.
Oh man. Then the valedictorian was Chastity.
Yeah. I think they named her that on purpose for ironic effect.
Yeah, very much, very much. And the
her speech was, if you actually listen to the parts that you could hear without like cutting away to the people creepily talking about her looks, her speech was the most generic, dumb speech. I wrote down part of it, but she said, "May this town be a special meeting place for us all. Thank you for the best times ever."
Oh, that's awesome. I love too how they were talking about the party that they were trying to get to. And I guess it's a small town thing, but like everybody knew about it. Like even like the dad who was never home knew that there was a party, and that's not the way parties work.
Well, I didn't ever. Well, like I said, I was homeschooled, so I didn't know about these kind of parties happening.
You really
So
didn't miss
I have
much.
no experience, so I can't speak to how realistic that part was.
No, it's all good. I didn't hit many myself, but yeah, there's no way. If the cops knew about that stuff,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I don't know, sheriff's daughter, I suppose.
Hmm. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I was talking about where the monkey was from. It was South America. It was supposed to be China, though.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I
But
don't think they have that kind of monkey in China.
I'm pretty sure not. But it's like they were playing it off as it being an ancient Chinese demon, but they picked a really weird monkey. They picked just probably whatever easy monkey they could find for that role, I suppose.
Probably. Yeah. Because, I mean, capuchin monkeys are like one of the most trainable monkeys. And that's why you see so many of them in films.
Makes
So they
sense.
probably just chose that one because they could train one rather than trying to find an actual monkey from China. Because I don't think that the monkeys in China, at least the ones that I can think of, I've never seen one trained. Like the snub nose monkeys and the kinds that are in the hot springs.
Oh
I've
yeah,
never
those are
seen any of
cool.
those being trained.
The only ones that come to mind for me, and it was actually because of COVID. There was a tourist area in Thailand where this I guess quote unquote gang of monkeys were always fed by tourists, and
Oh
when the
yeah.
tourist trade dried up, the monkeys just went crazy. Like they were known for stealing things and breaking into houses to start with, but you throw hunger into that mix, and things went a little off the rails.
Oh.
Yeah,
So how do they deal with that problem then?
I have no idea. I imagine, I mean, you'd almost have to feed them so they didn't do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh wow, that would be a problem. Yeah, there's so many weird problems that are coming up because of COVID. That has got to be one of the weirdest.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, and we're kind of getting off the subject of the movie because it's probably more interesting than the
That's
actual
fine.
movie.
Where were we in the movie anyway?
um, we were past the graduation part. We hadn't gotten to where she actually gets the monkey yet.
Oh yeah. I found it hilarious that I don't know why this is hilarious, but I thought it was hilarious that she just names the monkey Skippy. It's the most generic name.
At least she didn't call it Fido.
I mean, Fido would be funnier than Skippy. Skippy was just like, that's the best you could come up with.
That's one thing that they kind of missed was you could have thrown a few more Wizard of Oz references in there. You could have, name it Toto
Yeah.
or Dorothy, or call it a chicken, call it Dorothy or something. So there's a little, or something, Auntie M, or that. Not that you needed it to be like all and out, look, reference or whatever,
Hmm.
but they could have done something.
There's probably a lot of missed opportunities like that. I think
This whole
they
movie
were,
is a missed opportunity.
yeah, no, true, very true. They were so focused on trying to just make a movie about flying monkeys that they didn't put enough thought into the script or a lot of things, but the script mostly.
I would even say like utilizing the monkeys. Like they really didn't do anything with them. They just had them do the same thing over and over.
Yeah, they just wanted a monster to eat people.
And that's really all they did, honestly. I mean,
Hmm. You'd think some sort of ancient monkey spirit would want to cause a little more mischief and mayhem rather than just eat people.
you'd think that would make more sense, but why would you want to go that route? I mean, actually putting some thought into your scripting, it's crazy. The thing is that there was like most of these, it's about the kills and that's kind of it. And you can do good horror and still have a lot of kills. I don't know.
Well, I don't think that they were focused on good horror.
No, no. And I love too. So when they get the monkey, when he Joan's dad brings the monkey home, she says that she's never going to put him in a cage again. And it's like, if she's going to be a vet and she's working, they show her working at like a vet clinic. Like, there is a time and place when animals have to be caged.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a weird statement to make, and it doesn't really have any implications on anything.
There was a lot of weird statements in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they had some generic, not maybe not political ideas, but like some generic ideologies, and they just did not think through very well how to do them.
I would agree.
The movie seemed very anti-gun, but in the weirdest way possible.
I would agree.
The whole thing about like the monkeys could only be killed by ancient weapons, and this tracker lady is talking about how stupid everybody is for using their guns, but like, what are they supposed to do?
Right.
And like, she acts like it should be common knowledge that of course you can't kill these things with guns, but like, who would know that?
There were only 2 left in the world too, so I will say I liked the idea of them splitting every time they got shot. Like, every time they got taken out, they split. That was kind of a neat idea in itself.
But it was handled very weirdly.
It was handled very weirdly. And I do have to laugh. I wrote down, I wonder if they're genetically predisposed to like be easy targets. Because they were such easy targets. Like, even the dude who'd never shot a gun before, it didn't seem like he had.
And the old guy, there was like 3 of them, and he just aims his gun, bang, 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 and they all fall down.
Yeah, and he's like, because the gun is shaking, because he's an elderly, and he's probably like 75 or 80, and he's just like...
Yeah.
And it's like, normally in horror movies, and I guess that's not the case of all horror movies, but normally it's like bad people are the ones that get killed. And it's like, not that the gas station guy was a saint, but he really didn't do anything wrong. And all of a sudden he gets like eaten and stuff. And it's like, well, that wasn't very nice. Respect your elders.
I think at least for me, my interpretation of that was it goes back to them at the beginning, ogling over the girls. Same with the teenage guys ogling over the valedictorian.
That's true.
It just marked them as their monkey food now.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it would make sense why Sonia, I think, maybe explains why she didn't get knocked off, was because she just got ogled. So these monkeys are, they're killers and they're sexual deviants.
And not that it needs to make sense, but like, how would the monkeys know who deserved to die?
Well, in any of these movies, that the evil is given the sense of who, they automatically know. It's not even a question.
Well, I guess we could loop back to where we left off in the story, because the first person, well, I guess it was 2, but like the first person that you really know is dead or going to be dead is the boyfriend, because after Joan is given the monkey, the boyfriend is over and he wants to make out, but the monkey does not approve. And he calls her lame, and I think he calls the monkey stupid. It's like, I mean, not that everybody has to love monkeys, but why would you think that a monkey is stupid? Like, I mean, I feel like that would be more interesting than making out. Like, she has a monkey. Don't you want to play with the monkey?
Some of his like verbiage, it's like, oh well, I'm sex starved and this and that, and it's like, and okay, awesome. Did you not see the monkey?
Really? Yeah, I was fine with him being eaten quickly. We didn't have to put up with too many scenes with him.
Yeah, and there really wasn't a lot of scenes. Like, we got like the opening scene of a lot of the people, and then like their kill scene, and really didn't get a lot of interaction with anyone beyond that, honestly.
That's true.
I also loved the first time, so like the windows open and for some reason the monkey is in a guest room, in a cat bed thing or a dog bed thing.
Yeah.
Windows open without a screen, and the monkey transformed into this like weird golem type thing with wings. and flies out the window, and he gets outside the window, and then he transforms, and he's really, really loud. And it's just like, how did they not? Did they have like earphones in? How did they not hear this thing transform? Because it was loud.
I don't know. That's something we probably don't need to overanalyze.
Yeah. Well, whatever analyzing we do is more than anything that they put into that side of it.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, the fact we're questioning where the monkey is from and if that correlates to like China or South America, it's more than what they thought about.
Or even the fact that they didn't even think about the fact that no sane person would put a monkey in a room by itself with an open window and no screen.
Yeah.
Like the monkey, of course, even if he doesn't turn into a monster and fly away, the monkey's going to be curious and climb out the window.
Oh, totally. Get stuck on the roof the way a cat does or something. Oh, the whole like side trip back to China where we meet the demon hunters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That whole bit was just, I know that they needed to introduce them, but just like out of nowhere, and they're like, oh, we kill people, blah, or we kill these things, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, okay, we'll take your word for it.
It makes about as much sense as anything else in this movie.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
One thing that didn't make sense though was they could not figure out how to pronounce whatever the monkey was supposed to be, because they had like 3 different pronunciations of the name. It was like Sego, whatever. Like, and I'm pretty sure when I watched this like a year ago, I had a version that had subtitles, so I can't remember exactly how it was spelled, but I think it was like XIAO.
Oh, okay.
And that doesn't even remotely look like Sego. And so there's no G in there, so I don't know where that was coming from. I think the X would maybe be similar to an S sound, so that's probably fine.
Right.
But I still feel like they probably were butchering whatever the pronunciation is, because there is an actual mythological creature in China that this is based on.
Oh.
I don't think it's exactly a flying monkey, but they're basing it on something. So they did put a tiny bit of thought into it, but not enough.
Do they ever with these? Well, and that's kind of a classic trope of any kind of B movie. They'll take like a base idea and then take it from there. Like if you look at Birdemic, the idea is that birds go crazy and wild and stuff. Like there was one instance where they went crazy and wild in huge numbers, like at one point in time. And so they're basing this whole premise off that, even though the thing for that is like tiny and this is like massive and apocalyptic.
I might have heard that the name of that movie, but I didn't know what it was about.
You're not missing much.
I could imagine.
Like the idea of what happened in Birds, like that movie, is kind of the basis of what Birdemic is. Like it's kind of it's a really bad ripoff of it, or not bad ripoff, a bad
I wondered.
retelling to some extent. Yeah, at one point they bring up how it happened, and it's just like, yeah, but you're basing a lot off that one thing. Your imagination is kind of run away with you, which, you can kind of do whatever you want with movies, but what do I know? Let's see. Yeah, the random like touchy-feely moments, they're just, I don't know. Like they're trying to make you feel for the character, but it's just so ham-fisted, and it's been done so many times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dead mom.
Yes.
Darn. There's a random picture that probably came with the frame. That's mom.
that's probably true.
We don't have permission to use her, but she's never going to notice, so we're going to call it good.
That would be weird, though, if you were like a photo model like 10 years ago and then suddenly you're watching some really stupid science fiction movie at 3 a.m. and suddenly you're in the movie. Well, the monkey, like we said, it like hulks out, it flies out the window, and then you go to this cheating boyfriend who is making out with the valedictorian. and suddenly the monkey is there. Like it makes no noise. It's just suddenly in the room with them, and it kills them. It was so dumb.
It's both gory and not gory. I don't even know how to describe it properly.
Because like I don't like gore, and like if something is too gory, it's like it grosses me out. And there was a lot of stuff like that happening, but I was not grossed out. I was annoyed and bored.
So it's good to know that annoying and bored overrides gore in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I feel like the gore was generally well done. Like the makeup job was good.
Yeah. Like the
And
claw marks on them.
yeah. Yeah, but they get taken out and the cop shows up and he's all like, "My daughter," and they're like, "No," and that's kind of where it fades out.
And then like the whole town is talking about the cop's daughter dying, and the dad is trying to get a hold of Joan. And this is where the secretary named Dorothy comes in. I don't remember why he has to talk to the secretary, but like you gotta get that name in there, Dorothy.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, if you're going to throw random crap in there, then that's, I guess, the way to do it.
Yeah. And it's talking like the dad wants revenge, even though it's obvious that they were killed by animals. He acts like it wasn't. I didn't really know. Maybe it was just him like going through grief and being kind of crazy. I don't know. But he kept acting like he was wanting revenge for his daughter.
And I suppose that makes sense given what it is, but when you don't know what it is that killed her, because they didn't even think it was animals for a while, right?
Although they didn't know what it was, but like the speculation was that it was some kind of animal because of the way they were killed.
Right.
At some point, they're investigating like an animal death, and they're figuring out that this pig, or I think pig and dog, were both killed in the same way.
Oh
So
yeah, they were on the farm.
Something is killing things and people.
Exactly. And they don't know like how it rolls or whatever, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they go to the farm. It was the farmer was one of the guys that was making sort of lewd comments at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because that happens one night, and then the next night is when the monkeys come back and take him out. And oh yeah, because I wrote this quote down. The I don't know why. He says, "I knew they had wings," because they had been talking about they couldn't find tracks, and then this guy's like, "I knew they had wings."
Because that would be your next obvious thing to do. Oh my god.
He doesn't seem that surprised that it's like if it were me and I saw these flying giant demon monkeys, I would be like, "What?" I wouldn't be like, "I knew they had wings."
I mean, and I guess a lot of the characters in these things, especially the quote unquote well-worn ones, not much surprises them in the grand scheme. Like you always have that one guy that just, I knew they were coming for me or whatever it might be. It doesn't make any sense, but I don't know.
And woven into all this too is the stuff with the people back in China. And I think somebody gets killed by one of the monkeys because they like the trackers meet up with this other group that were like capturing the animals, and they're all working together to try and catch the last two monkeys because they know there's one in China and one in America now. And then somebody gets killed by the monkey. And this is where you get all the stories about if you shoot them, they split in two, and you got to kill them with the blessed weapons because ancient demons require ancient weapons that were blessed long ago and passed down through our family. I had to write down that whole stupid quote.
Well, and in case you forgot it, she repeats it about 10 more times in the next like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you really got to hammer home that they can only be killed by ancient weapons.
What was it that they could be killed by?
Ancient weapons that were blessed long ago and passed down through our family.
Ah, okay. I missed it the first 5 times. I appreciate you saying it again.
Basically, it's these crossbow things.
Well, but then they also have like katanas, and then they have
Oh,
like
that's right. I forgot the
they
sword.
they had like kind of like curved blades, like not as big as a sai, but like a
Yeah,
smaller handheld version of that as well. But those don't show up until quite a lot later.
yeah.
And I know that you have to move from place to place and thing to thing, but like there's so many characters that just kind of pop in, say their piece and leave, and then there's nothing else with them again. I mean, one guy could stagger off into the wilderness bleeding from his head, and we don't care because we've only known him for like 2 seconds.
Well, one of those types of characters is this friend of her boyfriend who he comes over and basically he wants her to be his girlfriend right after his friend, her boyfriend, got mauled by some unknown creature. That was the dumbest thing. Like, who does that?
He was one like at the graduation that was like, I want to get with her, I want to get with her, and yeah, it's just, and with that too, when he comes over and he tries to like not really barge in, but he tries to get in a little bit more. Like Skippy like tries to protect Joan from him,
Mm-hmm.
and that happened a couple times, and then he goes off and transforms into like giant, King Kong with wings, and like eats him or whatever later. And I mean that, I guess maybe that formed the relationship that, hey, he's like the monkey is protective of her.
Well, was the monkey? I don't think the monkey. I mean, sort of, but like the monkey that killed him, it was one of the offshoots, wasn't it? Before the farmer was killed, he shot the monkey, and I think the monkey split. So I feel like the monkey that this your kid gets eaten by is like the first offshoot, wasn't he? Because he kills in quotation marks a little monkey, which is not Skippy, because she has Skippy with her. So he shoots this other monkey and he puts him in a cooler and takes him home. And
Ah,
then
that's right. That's right.
later the cooler is opened and two monkeys come out, which end up killing him.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like obviously they don't get into like the how it all transitions down if like memories transfer as well, so like they all have that same love of Joan, or kind of
I
how that
kind of
rolls.
assumed that, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know how
Right.
much thought they put into that.
Probably not much. Again, we're probably putting much more thought into the overall premise of this than they are.
Yeah. And at some point, Joan actually sees Skippy transform. And I think this is happening around the same time as this kid getting eaten, which is why I didn't think it was the same monkey, because she has him transforming at her house. But there's this other monkey too. And then I think that this one is Skippy because it's the old man at the gas station. And I'm pretty sure at least one of those monkeys is Skippy because she's out trying to find Skippy later. And she says she sees him at the gas station. I don't know how she could tell because like she only saw this monster version once.
It's just because she feels it deep inside her heart. It speaks to her.
They have a connection.
Oh, deep, intense, connection, being that they've known each other for, maybe 3 days.
Yeah. And this is where you have the other farmer shooting the monkeys like off the top of the roof, like I was talking before, like bam, bam, bam. And he gets eaten, and then Joan finds the monkeys eating him, and then they don't attack her. So that's why I'm wondering if like they all see her as I don't know, their protector.
That, or it might have been they were taking, like Skippy kind of led the charge, and so he didn't attack, so they
Yeah,
didn't attack, maybe?
it could be. Or maybe they were just full because they just ate this old farmer.
Highly possible. I did have to laugh. After they all eat the guy at the gas station, or the farm, was it the gas station or the farmer? I guess they're both kind of the same basic character. She calls her dad and tells him about the monkey transforming, and I felt like she's relatively calm on that call. But everything that happened after that, her dad's like, "Oh God, my daughter is. I only heard. Only understood about half of what she said." And it's like, were you guys on the same conversation?
I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Yeah, he calls the sheriff, and they, for some reason, team up. I don't really know why the sheriff needed him to team up with him.
I suppose two easy targets are better than one.
I don't know. It was just one of many things that didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty much this whole movie, other than a cute monkey.
Yeah. And at some point in here, too, we're skipping around, but like the trackers in China eventually make their way to the US. They find the other pilot who didn't get killed at the beginning and make him take them to America to find the pet shop guy.
And boy, they had a great time there. Didn't he come in and they're like, no refunds or something like that, like the minute they walk through the door.
Well, I wonder how many bad animals this guy's been selling.
Probably lots.
Somewhere in here is the weird scene with her friend in the shower, and apparently the monkey is watching her. Like, because she later talks about, like, she was in the shower and was being watched by this monkey. And I was like, why is the monkey watching her in the shower? That didn't make any sense. Like, was he waiting till she was the right temperature?
Well, they didn't care with anybody else, so I don't know. Apparently, maybe she looked like she was a waitress, so maybe she had to get off all that extra seasoning from carrying all the food and stuff.
I don't know. I think it was just an excuse for the camera to linger on her belly button for some reason.
Oh my god, they lingered for so long.
It was very weird.
Yeah, like I said before, like the monkeys are they're killers and they're sexual deviants. That's kind of how they roll.
And they're killers of sexual deviance as well.
Yes, yeah. But they don't follow their own teachings, obviously. And just the constant going back to it when she got over to Joan's house, she's like, "Oh, it kept looking at me. It kept looking at me." It's like, we get it. Next, you're gonna tell us you have blessed weapons that go back generations.
They did repeat a few things a few too
Yeah,
many times, didn't they?
they did. I'm pretty sure it was just to lengthen the movie.
It was already long enough.
Oh god, yeah. You're not lying there. So what was with the weird pizza the pizza delivery on a bike? Especially in a rural place. I have a hard time thinking there would be pizza delivery on a bike.
Yeah, that was really weird. I think they just wanted an excuse to carry off a biker.
Probably. I had to laugh though, like when the cop and Joan's dad show up at the whatever the mill was. They say, "Scotty the pizza kid, he's gone." It's like, can you imagine being known as Scotty the pizza kid?
This sounds like the worst superhero name.
I would definitely want that on my tombstone. Here lies Scotty the pizza kid.
Somewhere in here you get like, and I don't want to call them fight scenes, but like they're shooting at all the monkeys. And like this scene is basically them trying to get as many monkeys as possible into the movie. So they're just shooting and shooting all the monkeys. And like we said, they split in two when they get shot. So that's like a swarm of monkeys by the end of the movie.
And then they take the most easy way out. Like they take the whole, well, if we kill the leader, they all die. It's like I think they probably wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, on the one hand, I guess I could see where they would get that, but like, is it really splitting in two if killing one kills all of them? It's like they're all connected to the original creature. So basically, it's just one giant hive mind.
Well, that would make sense kind of in some of the other. I mean, again, I think we're putting a lot more into this than what they did. But given how they all kind of back off from going after Joan, I do think that there is something to that. And you look at like a lot of vampire movies, and obviously this isn't vampire based, but a lot of them base it on if you kill the original vampire that turned everybody else, everyone else dies, or at least they become more human.
Okay. Well, at some point in here is where the trackers from China arrive, and This is more of the yelling at people for shooting them. And again, what else are they supposed to do? Like, if you're being attacked by a giant monkey and you have a gun, an obvious solution is to shoot it. If you don't know that it's going to split in two, why wouldn't you?
Oh
They
yeah.
act like it should be common knowledge that you shouldn't be shooting this thing, and it's like, whatever. This is the weirdest anti-gun message I've ever heard.
I would agree. Well, that message is like weird, like big and weird, but then also like the animal rights one. Like they talk about poachers, but there's no real talk about poachers.
Uh-huh.
It's just kind of like, oh, they're poachers, bad. And obviously that is, but it's just put out there as a thing.
Yeah. They had generic messages that they'd seen in other movies that they wanted to incorporate into their movie, and they did a horrible job of it.
Yeah. So it's about the same level as everything else in the movie, then is what you're saying.
Yes.
It feels like there was other messages in there, but I'm drawing a blank as to what they would have been. I think it was just those two, kind of the anti-gun thing and the poachers thing.
And the creepy pervs being creepy pervs and getting eaten. So it's anti-creepy perv.
Yeah, well, that's generally speaking a good message. That one was fleshed out. Like, of all the messages, at least that one was fleshed out.
That's true. They got the point across.
When they figure out, or when the lady demon hunter, when they get back to the house and they keep trying to protect Joan, it's like, oh, she needs to go inside. It's like, you can tell that there's more to this, that she has a connection to this animal. Let her do something. Don't just shoo her inside. And I know they were going for a certain thing, but it just kind of, it's just like repetitive. Like everything else, any message that they have, oh, our weapons are blessed. Oh, he was staring at me in the shower. Oh, we need to protect Joan. Just that message got repeated so many times. It was just, you took a shot every time you heard that. You'd be drunk in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the fact that it did honestly come down to her, like, despite her connection to this monkey, to Skippy, Nico, whatever you want to call him, she still stabs him and she says, no more monkey business, of all the weird puns. Oh, God.
So dumb. It was so dumb.
Oh, that's the best. And I understand that, you're not going to be the most pun-worthy person when you're in that situation, but that honestly was the best she had.
It was like she had no emotion over it either.
No, absolutely not.
If it were me and I knew that my adorable little monkey had turned into this monster and I now had to kill it, I would be a little bit more broken up than making a weird little pun while I stabbed it.
Yeah. Well, it would either be emotionless pun or you'd be bawling your eyes out. But I don't know, being that how many people it killed, like it almost took out her dad. He survived an awfully long time too, by the way. That was weird.
Yes. He's like the most long-lived person.
Yeah. He was imparted with some kind of magical potion. The fact that they didn't bring anything magical into this kind of surprised me, being that they were dealing with demons and stuff.
Well, technically the weapons were magical because they were blessed.
Yeah.
They told you that a few times.
Yeah, just a few. But they never, they didn't even, like, she obviously had one at the end, but nothing was made of it. It wasn't like, I don't know. You would expect a little more pomp and circumstance when you take out the leader of all of these bad things. It's just like, and then he falls over and it's like, you see her hand. I don't even know if they show her hand as red or anything, but it's just like, it was so anticlimactic for what it was supposed to be.
The pun wasn't enough for you. You needed a little more.
I did. Puns. I do puns every day as it is. I need something a little bit more girthy. If you're going to do it right. You've already stripped me of any chances of having anything related really to Wizard of Oz. Give me something. I mean, they don't even have fun little hats or vests. It's just, golem-looking winged things with slightly monkey faces.
That would have made it so much better if they were all wearing little hats and vests.
And they were like part of them. That would have been awesome. But even in the design of those, you look at that, and if you're going to use a capuchin monkey, there was no correlation between the look of the monkey and the look of the giant flying monkey.
No.
Like, none of the features translated at all. And regardless, you don't want it to be cute, but there could have been some features put in there.
Yeah, no, it looked nothing like what it started as. It looked basically like a chimp but worse.
Yeah. I mean, I like when I saw it, and it's been forever since I've seen the most recent Planet of the Apes like series, but it looked like an unrendered, untextured version of that more
Yeah.
than it did anything else.
Yeah. One other thing that we missed, but I wanted to come back to because there was something that I noticed at the end, was the female tracker. She's like the final person from China that survives to the end, but then she dies too, right before the final blow to the monkey that kills all the monkeys. So they're outside their house when this weird little fight scene that ends with her death happens. So she's dead. And then at the end, after she's killed the monkey, they all go outside and sit on the porch. And there's like this heartfelt moment. I'm thinking, but the tracker is probably lying dead on the lawn like 10 feet from them.
Oh man. And they actually put they put their feet up on her, to kind of relax back or whatever.
I think they just didn't think about that when they were plotting this scene out. But like, I'm pretty sure she died somewhere out on the front lawn. So she's probably there somewhere just off screen.
Well, and probably the way it was shot, being that was at night, they probably shot it totally out of sequence. So,
Yeah.
they might have shot like that, one of the last days of shooting and them on the front porch at the beginning. But yeah, that's why you have continuity people. That's why you have all those things in place to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you check off all the things that need to be in a shot or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. There was so much that just didn't make any sense.
No.
I don't know that I have anything else to add on it, really. I mean, there's no trivia on it per se. Like, even the Sci-Fi Wiki really didn't have anything much other than it was a 2013 TV movie. The connections to anything Wizard of Oz are so tenuous. You know why they did it. It's like any movie that has a connection to something else. Like, how many movies have, an Oscar award winner in it, and they'll advertise the fact that it stars Oscar award, winner, blah, blah, blah. And they're in the movie for like 2 seconds. At least they don't call it the Wizard of Oz's, flying monkeys.
That's true.
Like, if they wanted to put it in there, just put a few more things in there. It wouldn't have taken them much to add a few things, like as compared to it coming from China. Maybe it, falls through a gate. They find this monkey and they say, oh, hey, this monkey, and, weird celestial events or something like that. And then it turns out that the monkey comes from Oz, and they don't have to mention it. Beyond that, it's there. It's causing trouble. It still multiplies. Someone comes through from Oz and is able to take him out.
The monkey should have arrived in a tornado.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
That's another sci-fi movie, Monkey-nado.
Oh, yeah. He arrives via Scotty the pizza boy, the pizza kid's bike. See, we're coming up with better options and ideas, and yeah.
And then some sci-fi executive will listen to this, and then they'll be like, Monkey-nado. That's our next one. The sequel.
Well, I mean, we just hit. Did Wizard of Oz came out in 1939?
I believe so.
I mean, we're not that far past the anniversary. You could still kind of say, hey, do the thing.
What a way to celebrate the anniversary of a beloved film classic. By making a terrible sci-fi movie about monkeys in a tornado.
I guarantee you there are probably ones that are worse.
Yeah, there, at least judging solely by titles, there are.
Yeah. It doesn't take much.
Sometimes I think that they just come up with a weird title idea and then base the entire movie off of that.
That's actually not all that uncommon. You go back to like the 50s and 60s with like the time of like B movies and stuff. They came up with titles a lot more often and then built the movie around it.
Wow.
But you can even say that about things like War of the Worlds. It was announced that they were going to make that Steven Spielberg was going to make War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. And, Sci-Fi Channel or Asylum take that idea and they're like, okay, we need to build this movie so it can come out the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Or even, you had talked about like Anastasia or other, rip-off fairy tale movies that come out. Same basic idea.
Yeah, kind of.
Certainly not a new concept by any stretch.
Well, I suppose if we don't have any more final thoughts, it's probably a good place as any to end this episode.
Yeah, I got absolutely nothing to add beyond that, so.
Well, I guess, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you?
Oh, certainly. You can find me on YouTube at Trivial Theater. I do quite a wide variety of random, obscure, and straight up bad movies with a good dose of trivia and some humor as well. You can also check me out on Twitter at trivia_chick, and that's chick without a K. Stop by, say hi, either place. Love to talk to you.
Okay, and I'll have those linked in the description. And I guess we will see you next time.
Yep. Thanks as always, Jonathan.
Yep, thanks for joining me. Thanks to Nicki for joining me for this episode of Every Version Ever. This episode would not have happened without her. Literally, I never would have revisited this terrible film were it not for her agreeing to do this episode with me. If you want more from her, I'll have her links in the description below. If you like learning about cheesy, obscure films, definitely check out her channel. Next time will be the penultimate episode in our Oz series. Eli Sands will be back, and over 2 episodes we're going to be talking about the 2 silent film adaptations of The Wizard of Oz from 1910 and 1925. Next time we'll talk about the 1910 version, and in the final episode we'll talk about the 1925 version. Those 2 films are a trip, and I can't wait to share them with you, so we'll see you next time on Every Version Ever. Thanks for listening.